I was working at a hotel in New Zealand when an American businessman stormed to the front desk. He had just flown in from Los Angeles. He slammed his itinerary down and said, "I've been robbed. I left LA on a Monday evening and I arrived here on a Wednesday morning. My entire Tuesday is gone. I demand a refund for 1/7 of my flight and my hotel room for the day your country stole from me." I tried to explain the international dateline for 10 minutes, but he was convinced it was a conspiracy between airlines and hotels to scam travelers out of a day of their lives. "If you guys burned down our capital, how come we didn't nuke you back for that or something?" This was a serious question from a Texan exchange student in my British history class in England. The lecture was on the War of 1812. The professor, with the patience of a saint, had to gently explain that the atomic bomb would not be invented for another 130 years, and that international relations were slightly more complex than that. My friend was a bartender in a historic pub in Edinburgh, Scotland. An American tourist came in, looked around at the dark wood and stone walls and said, "This is a great theme bar. Which company designed it? It really captures that old-timey European feel. It's almost as authentic as the Epcot Centre in Disney World." My friend just poured his Guinness and replied, "We're a startup, sir. Been working on the theme since 1381. The guy thought he was joking and asked to see the manager to compliment him on the design. I was on a train in Germany, sitting opposite an American family. The teenage son was looking out the window as we passed a massive wind farm with hundreds of turbines. He turned to his dad and said with complete seriousness, "Wow, Germany must have a lot of tornadoes. Look at all those giant fans they have to set up to blow them away." His father nodded sagely and replied, "That's right, son. It's a perfect example of that famous German engineering, proactive, not reactive." I used to work for a travel agency. A woman called wanting to book a multi-city European vacation. She said, "I want to start in Rome to see the Pope, then go to Paris for the Eiffel Tower, and end in London for the Queen. I'd like to do it all in a weekend and I want to drive." I explained that these cities are in different countries, hundreds of miles apart. She sounded annoyed. "But they're all in the EU, right? It's basically one country. It shouldn't take longer to drive from Paris to London than it does from Dallas to Houston." A backpacker in Bangkok was furious. "It's crazy," he told our hostel group, "that you have to go all the way to America to get authentic Asian food." He had apparently tried to order sweet and sour chicken at a traditional Thai restaurant and was baffled when they brought him pad Thai instead. He was completely, unshakably convinced that American Chinese takeout was the original authentic cuisine of the entire continent of Asia. My university in England had a study abroad program with a college from Texas. One of the students was in my British history class. After a lecture on the War of 1812, during which British forces burned Washington, D.C., he raised his hand. He asked the professor, "I don't understand. If you guys burned down our capital, how come we're still friends? Didn't we, nuke you guys back for that or something?" The professor had to gently explain that the atomic bomb wasn't invented until more than a century later. While visiting the ancient city of Pompeii, I overheard an American teenager ask his mom, "So, a volcano erupted and all these people died, right?" The mom confirmed. The teen then said, "Well, that was really dumb of them. Why didn't they just check the volcano app on their phones? It would have sent them a notification that it was going to erupt. People were so irresponsible back then." He then went back to playing a game on his own phone, completely oblivious to the irony. I was working in a souvenir shop near the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, in South Korea. An American tourist came in and asked me, "So which one is the good Korea and which one is the bad Korea?" I explained the history of the division. He then asked, "But why is the bad one called North? In America, the North won the Civil War, so they were the good guys. It seems like you guys have it all backward, and it's very confusing for visitors." A friend of mine is a chef at a high-end restaurant in Lima, Peru. A wealthy American couple was dining there and ordered the ceviche, a famous local dish made with raw fish cured in citrus juices. After the dish was served, the man called my friend over to the table. He said, "My compliments, this is a wonderful appetizer. Now could you please take our fish back to the kitchen and cook it? We're ready for the main course." He thought the ceviche was just the before stage of the meal. I was on a flight from Chicago to Dublin. The American man next to me found out I was Irish and started asking questions. His final, most serious question was, "So, do you guys still have leprechauns over there? Or did they all die out?" I was so taken aback, I just said, "No, they're a protected species now. The population is making a steady comeback thanks to government conservation efforts." He seemed very pleased with this information and started taking notes. A helpful travel tip for an American woman on my flight to Cairo: the local language, Arabic, does not come with an American version for reading street signs. She was genuinely concerned, asking me, "It says here they write with all squiggly lines. That's so inconvenient. How are you supposed to get around? They should really have an English option for everything. It would be so much more efficient for everyone." An American exchange student at my university in Australia was confused about our money. He looked at our colourful polymer banknotes and asked, "Why is your money so fake? It feels like plastic. Is this a temporary currency until you can afford to make real money like our greenbacks?" He then asked if the different colours were because we couldn't decide on one, unlike the professional and uniform look of the US dollar. I was working at the front desk of a hotel in Amsterdam. An American guest called down furious, "My TV is broken. I'm trying to watch CNN, but everyone is speaking some weird language." I tried to explain that he had landed on a local Dutch news channel. He replied, "That can't be right. It's an American news channel. You guys must be pirating the signal and dubbing over it with your gibberish. This is illegal, and I demand you fix it so I can hear it in its original American." While visiting the Great Pyramid of Giza, an American tourist asked the guide, "What's the elevator situation like in this thing? Is there a long wait to get to the top?" The guide explained that it was a 4,500-year-old tomb and there were no elevators, only narrow, steep passages. The tourist looked disgusted and said, "That's a major safety violation. In the States, any building this tall would be required by law to have an elevator and be ADA compliant. You should really modernize this place." I was on a bus in rural Japan. An American tourist was looking out the window at the rice paddies. He turned to his wife and said, "It's a nice view, but it's so inefficient. All these little fields with people working in them. In America, we'd have one giant mega field and use a huge machine to do all that work in an hour. They could learn a lot from our farming techniques." He had no concept of terrace farming, tradition, or land ownership. My cousin from Florida came to visit me in Montreal, Canada, during the winter. He was shocked that we just went about our daily lives despite the snow and cold. He asked, "Why isn't the whole city shut down?" Back home, if we get a tiny bit of ice, the whole state declares an emergency. You guys are just walking around in it like it's nothing. It's really unsafe. Your government should be protecting you better. He genuinely thought we were being reckless by going to work. I overheard a conversation in a youth hostel in Prague. An American was telling a group of Europeans, "The best thing about America is our freedom of speech. I can say anything I want about our president and nothing will happen to me." An English guy replied, That's the same in my country." A German girl added, "Me too." A Swedish guy chimed in, "Yes, we can also do that." The American looked confused, as if he'd just been told a unicorn wasn't real. Really? I thought that was a uniquely American thing. Who is The Gap, and why do I have to mind him? An American tourist, staring intently at the platform warning in the London Underground, flagged down a station employee to ask this. Is he a local celebrity or something? It seems like a very strange way to honour someone. The employee, too tired to explain, just said, "He's a very important man, sir. Very important," and walked away. An American tourist in India was looking at the Ganges River. He saw people bathing and performing religious rituals. He turned to his guide and said, "This is so unhygienic. Don't they know about germs?" In America, we have swimming pools with chlorine for this kind of thing, and they're drinking it. You should tell them to stop before they all get sick. The guide tried to explain the spiritual significance, but the tourist just kept muttering about bacteria. I was on a walking tour in Berlin at a remaining section of the Berlin Wall. A young American guy asked the guide, "So which side was the good side and which was the bad side?" The guide explained the context of East and West Berlin. The guy then said, "Okay, but why didn't the people on the bad side just climb over the wall? It's not even that high. It seems like a pretty lazy way to be oppressed if you ask me." The collective groan from the rest of the tour group was audible. Handed his change, an American customer looked at the Canadian bills and coins in disgust. "Excuse me," he said to me at my Vancouver coffee shop, "I think you gave me the play money from Monopoly." I had to hold one of our polymer $20 bills up to the light to show him the security features before he would believe that our colourful currency was, in fact, real money. The rows of white crosses at the Normandy American Cemetery are a powerful, sombre sight. The mood was broken by a young man asking his girlfriend, "This is so sad, but why did they bury them all the way over here in France? Why not just fly them home to America? It seems really disrespectful to just leave them in a foreign country like this." He said it loudly enough for several European visitors to hear and shake their heads. In America, our Amtrak system is perfect. It's clean, it's always on time, and it's simple. An American backpacker confidently told me this while we were riding on one of the world's largest and most functional rail networks in India. He was complaining about the crowds and the different classes of service, completely unaware that he was praising one of the world's most notoriously inefficient train systems while criticizing a lifeline for 1 billion people.